But just like Aubrey said, we wanted to, take this partnership that already exists and go beyond kind of that 101 or that initial thought of how you would use the system. So in knowing how the integration works, we wanted to really dive in and think of unique ways to, capitalize on all the work you've done in Redtail and all of the things that are available in PreciseFP and kind of join those two together and show you how much more power you have. So we'll go ahead and get started. So just to preface for today, or kind of the thought process behind it, was inside of Redtail, you are able to segment out your clients, right? You put a lot of front end work to make sure that you are organizing your database lists, that you go into each record and you make sure that everyone is properly tagged. So now that you've done that, you might want to take some PreciseFP engagements that exist in the form library and target those specific groups. And because there's not a search in PreciseFP, we want to show how in Redtail you can run that advanced search, cast a net over that group, and target them specifically for the engagements. So I do want to let you know that the things that we discussed today do not need to be implemented into your system, right? You don't need to see it and you have to do it that way. We just want to kind of get the idea in your head, and maybe you can expand on how you want to use that. And we have support that's available as well. So if you look at what we're showing and you're like, that's really cool, I have an idea on how I want to do this, just message us using that chat icon, and we're more than happy to help you out to your specific office and what you want to do. But I'll let Aubrey go ahead and introduce herself as well, and we'll jump right into Redtail and talk about that segmentation, marking those lists, the importance of it, and kind of how to do that advanced searching.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nora. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Aubrey Jones. I am one of the external training consultants here at Redtail, which means that I get to train with advisors in their teams directly. So we have an internal training team that I'm very grateful for because they train me, but then I get to take that knowledge and share it with you. So I am very pleased to be here. There is so much that PreciseFP can do, and we're very lucky to partner with them. So today I'm going to be showing you some of the things that we can do by utilizing advanced search in Redtail. And so when we come into Redtail, I am currently on the Today page, but anytime that we want to run a list of contacts, we're always going to click on Contacts here on the left-hand side. And from here, we will utilize advanced search. Now, if your page doesn't automatically land on advanced search, that's okay. These are little tabs that you can just click on at the top. But because we can segment contact records in Redtail, that segmentation can then be utilized through advanced search. Now, advanced search allows us to use a type, which is really anywhere that we can search in Redtail. And honestly, this feels like it's endless to me because there are a lot of different places we can look. But at a very base level, today we were talking about maybe you're doing some prospecting. It's the beginning of the year. We have big goals, and prospecting is a part of that. And so I can come in and search for the type of contact because I am looking for a list of contacts. And inside of that contact, we use status and category as high-level segmentation. So my field that I'm searching for inside of a contact would be status. And then my operand, what am I looking for that status to do? And I want that status to equal to prospect. Now I could stop here. This is where I could get a list of all of my contacts in Redtail that are prospects. But right now, with it being the beginning of the year, I really want to send out some targeted marketing and some targeted emails and ideas. So I'm going to use our and icon here on the right to create what I like to call a funnel. This allows us to break down and say, not only am I looking for a prospect, but I'm also looking for a contact with the category equal to, and I could add in cold, hot, warm, and get a list of any prospects that have the value of cold. Now, as I run my list, I have 20 contact records that are currently listed as cold prospects. Now, what's great about advanced search is that this is a list that I can actually save. So if I didn't want to have to set that up each time, we can actually save these lists as what we call a quick list. So I can click save here and save this search so that I could say prospecting search. And I want to show this to you by clicking on save and just coming back to my today page because I did not save it as cold prospects. And the reason for that is if I come to my little recently viewed icon, I can click on quick lists and start typing in prospects. Here's my prospecting search and it's going to build that for me. I don't have to come in and do it every single time. Instead, now I could even change this to hot. Click run and it's just going to update the search for me. Now, Nora and I talked a little bit ago and we really wanted to talk a little bit about reaching out to those cold prospects and getting those maybe moved into warm or too hot. And so Nora, from here, where would you like me to go next?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I love saving quick lists. I don't know about you, Aubrey, but do you think there's a maximum number of quick lists you can have? If you run
Yeah,
it often,
that's,
save it.
I mean, yeah, that's a great question because we don't want things to get cluttered. Just because you
Yeah.
can doesn't mean that you always should. And so I do normally tell people if you come up, one of the tabs right by advanced search is lists. And this is where you can actually view all of the quick lists that are in your database. And you can come in and actually see when those lists were created. And if maybe there are any lists that are duplicates or that aren't really being used anymore. And you can clean those up by clicking on the action icon to the left of their name and then clicking clone if you want to make that another search or delete if you want to get rid of it. So it's not necessarily whether you have too many or too less. It's really, are you actually using them? Because when you come to quick lists here and you're recently viewed, if I'm wanting to do this quickly, I don't want to have to scroll through a ton here or have to search every single time. So I do think it's a good idea to try to keep that list fairly minimal. You'll notice I have 3 prospecting searches. Maybe
Yeah.
I just need to bring that down to 1. So having conversations around cleanup, no time is better than the present to talk about cleanup as well.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a good point. All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen next. And
But
now that we have that targeted list, right, we go into Redtail and we're marking them as cold with the hope that we're going to drip on them and that they're going to turn into hot prospects, right? So
yeah,
now knowing that and having that list, the next thing we want to talk about is going into PreciseFP and doing something with that list. So hey, bear with me right now because I'm going to kind of talk about 2 ways you can do this.
cool.
So if those cold prospects already exist inside of PreciseFP or you want the information that you have on them to go into PreciseFP, you have 2 different ways you can do that. Aubrey didn't show it, but in the bulk options, there is an export option of those contacts. And one of the options for you is to go to the accounts on the left, go to all accounts, click on that plus sign and choose bulk import. This is a recently added feature where we give you the power to go ahead and bulk import contacts. So you don't need to put a request in, you don't need to jump into a queue. You can take that cold prospect list, import them in, and have them all here ready to go. Or if you want to target, maybe you just want to do a few a day kind of thing, you can go to the tab that says import instead and click on Redtail and compare the list. So have a tab open of Redtail, have a tab open of PreciseFP, and look at that first person. And I think I have a Tom. Let me just type in a few names here, see what I have. Let's see, Tim. Nope, that one doesn't work. Let's see, a Sally. No. Let's see if I have a Sarah. I think I have a John. I have to have a John, right? All right, so let's say there's a John inside of that cold prospect list in Redtail. I can just click on import, type in the first few letters of John's name, and choose him from the list. So if this is the John that I know I want to send that drip to, I can go ahead and import him in. It'll take a few seconds here, but it'll take all of that information inside of Redtail and import him in into PreciseFP. And the reason we're doing it this way, because in the next example, you'll notice I do have a link that you can create, and you can use Redtail's bulk broadcast email to mass send out a link. But the reason I'm doing it this way is so that we can pre-fill the form, because we're assuming that you have some information on this prospect already, and we're going to pre-fill that form with the information that we have, so that way it feels more personal and they're not just getting a blank form that's asking them to fill out, their name and their last name and things like that. So I will go ahead and search for John, and this is the John Smith that just came over from Redtail. So if I click on John here, I can go ahead and engage with him now. So if I go to engage with a form and I choose which form I want to use, in this example, I want to do a financial consultation form where I'm saying, hey, John, I know we've talked with each other in the past. I want to offer you a free consultation and see if that's something that this family will agree to. So I'll just review and edit this first just to show you how it's going to pre-fill the form with all of their information. And this is where you can get creative as well, where you don't have to, you know, leave it these colors. If this doesn't really match your brand, then you can put customization into it. So let me just show you that very quickly. If I go to the form library, where I got that form is over here in the lead generation area. We have all of these pre-built templates already available for you to use. And the one that I thought would be helpful was this financial consultation one, where it's sending them a form to see if they have a date and time that they would prefer to meet. And I did install that template. So once I install it, it will go to the My Templates area. And when you're in the My Templates area, you can customize it now. So like I said, maybe you don't like the color or the branding, you can go ahead and change that. So you can change the look and the feel to whatever you see fit for your office. And a lot of the times you put in a lot of money into coming up with all of this information of your colors, your font. So make sure that you do adapt it so it looks like it's coming from your firm or your office. So that's an example of customizing the template, and I just changed the font colors, but you can go beyond that and change the border colors and things like that, whatever you're looking for, whatever you're looking for. But then, like I said, once we go to the accounts area and I want to send over that financial consultation offer, I can choose them, review and edit, and very quickly I'll open it up here. They'll be able to get this engagement and choose a preferred date and time. So that's one of the options available for you, is to go ahead and use one of the existing templates. You might not like that one. Maybe you just want to start more softball, where you're maybe giving them information for a little bit more information. Those are available through the lead generation as well. This investment portfolio review is very similar to that one as well, where it's saying, hey, we're going to offer you a free portfolio review. Just go ahead and schedule a date and time, and we can go from there. And I also want to show that you can embed your calendar right into there. So let's say I go back to that financial consultation form, and instead of saying, hey, when's the best time to connect? I want to put my calendar here all together. A lot of offices prefer to do it this way because they're going to send one link, and the prospect is going to be able to put in their information and schedule a date and time. You're not having to send them to multiple places. So here we can click on that plus sign and we can add in a calendar option. So I'll go to the calendar app, and some of the providers that we work with Calendly, G Reminders, Zoom Scheduler, Schedule Once, Acuity Scheduling, and ZyncCal. But let's say I want to use the G Reminders example. You would have a few steps here where you would need to go into G Reminders and copy this link. I already have mine available, so I'll just create it there. And now what happened is it put my calendar right into this engagement. So it can say, hey, I know it's the new year. Let's meet for a free financial consultation. And right here could be my calendar for them to choose from. So if I preview this out, they would click right there and my calendar would appear right inside of that engagement for them to choose that preferred date and time. So that's something that we wanted to show was, okay, you have that cold prospect list. Now let's drip on them. We can send them an offer for a free consultation in this case, and then they can choose that preferred date and time that they want to meet. And you do have that bulk option available as well. If you didn't want to one by one import them in, you can do that export and import available as well. So I'll stop sharing. We can see if there's any questions about that process, but that was just one example that we wanted to show today. Jessica did ask a question. She said, do we have to input the forms in? So those, I think you're talking about the PreciseFP forms. Those two that I showed already come with your subscription. So they're housed in the form libraries area, but I would suggest to put a little bit of front end work to customize it, put in your branding, your colors, maybe change the text a little bit, add in your signature, or even embed that calendar if you find that as a value add as well.
I think what you
Really
said
great
too,
question.
Nora, what you said just blew it out of the water when you said you've spent a lot of time and money deciding what these colors are, what we're using for a font. And continuity is so important, especially when you are sending out blast emails or a broadcast email or a drip campaign. That continuity speaks so much to your brand and who you are as a firm, that having that set up, you providing kind of the layout is huge because that's a time saver. But then for them to be able to go in and use exactly what they need for their color codes, what they're looking for fonts, that to me as a client speaks volumes to see the same thing over and over. Nothing's weirder than when someone reaches out to you about finance and you're like, Times New Roman? That's the best you have? You know what I mean? It's like you wanted all of my money, but you couldn't customize your font.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely think, Jessica, you are getting a lot there with having some templates already set up that you can customize to your own. It's a great question.
Yep, really, really true. You don't want to send something in Comic Sans, right? It'll look like
The
it's a
lemonade stand font of
yeah,
2020.
exactly. Yeah, but I agree. It really adds a certain touch. And if you think about it, people are so used to it by now of, receiving a link if you're going to the doctor and saying, hey, fill out this patient intake form,
Yeah.
and it really provides that really high level of customer service, or that premier sets you up as that premier firm of like, okay, they're really organized, they're communicating what I need
Mhm.
to do, what I need to bring, and being really clear about everything.
I love that. I went to the dermatologist yesterday. They handed me an iPad when I got there, and since I
Oh.
had done my forms already, there were just a couple of things that I had to fill out, and it was so refreshing rather than walking in and having someone not know anything about me. And it was because I got texted a link.
Mhm.
It's just so nice.
Yes, exactly. So the next thing we'll talk about, again, we're going to go into Redtail. We're going to cast a net over a list. This time we'll talk about tax clients. So I know that, tax season is coming up and we might want to begin reaching out to those tax clients. And in Redtail, you put a lot of work in, again, to make sure that everyone has the correct keywords and the appropriate list designations. So now that you did that, you can actually do something with that list. So now let's cast a net over that group and then we can send them a nice tax checklist. And we'll show you an even faster way to do it this time.
Perfect. Now, I do like to show, if I would come into George Jetson, he's one of my clients. If I scroll down to the bottom, you'll notice that our status and category are still high level. George is an active AAA client. Where we looked at cold prospects, that makes sense because at a high level, they are still just a prospect and they are listed as a cold category. But what Nora's mentioning is that we do have the ability through things like keywords or user defined fields, tag groups, to really further segment out what those contacts are, maybe what products or services they use. And so you'll notice on a contact record, I have things like George is a 401k participant, an investment advisory client, a retirement client, a tax client. This just gives me the ability at a very high level, at a glance on a contact record, to see that. But it also gives me the ability, again, if I come to contacts and go to advanced search, I can use a search by contact keywords. Now, I, of course, like to do filters. So if I do contact and I'm only looking for active clients with a keyword, it may be something that was missed when someone went inactive or passed away. So I'm always going to start with my contact status is equal to active client. Now, you may have something different in your database, but I like to add that just in case. And then I'm going to come in and add in contact keywords. Keyword is equal to, and then that's where I can choose tax client. So now I can see a list of all of my active tax clients. When I click run, this is going to give me a list of anyone in my database that is not only an active contact, but they're also going to be a tax client with that keyword. So now I have my 41 contact records. And what Nora was saying is that you can select these contacts and I can click on select all 41. I always say this is the biggest muscle memory that you can build in advanced search is
Yeah.
that whenever you select a list of contacts, this total number, if it's over 50, you may need to select all by using the hyperlink. Every single person I train, I don't know, Nora, if this is your habit too, but I teach that muscle memory of just select the hyperlink regardless. So that you're always in the habit of doing it because nothing is worse than getting done with something and only having the first 50. So that muscle memory of selecting the hyperlink, then come to contact options. And from here, this is where we have the option to do that export. So if you were wanting to export that list, then you could do a bulk import into Precise. That is exactly how you can do it, is by going to exports. But we're going to be talking about bulk actions because you can actually send out what Redtail calls a broadcast email. Now, what's really cool about broadcast email is that this is going to send an individual email to each person on your list. So they are not going to know that they are part of a campaign. Instead, it is going to come to them from your individual email. It's not going to be BCC'd or sent out as like one of those really big, scary email lists. Instead, it's going to come to them directly. And so one of the things that you can do in Redtail is build broadcast email templates. And so if you had a template that you wanted to use, we can always build out that template. You can also just type freeform text into your into your broadcast email box from the bulk actions. Now, there's a way with PreciseFP that we can actually add the link here. Is that right, Nora?
Yes, yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen next. And I love that suggestion to make sure that you are isolating it by active clients in addition to those tax clients. Just because, like you said, there's nothing more insensitive than sending it to someone who's not a client anymore, or something like that. So the next example we wanted to show to coordinate with that tax list is a tax filing checklist. So here inside of the form library, already ready for you, is a tax filing checklist. And if you click that and install it, same thing, it's going to go over to your templates area where you can enhance it a little bit more. So if I go to, it's already installed for me, but it's somewhere lower. I'll just search it here.
I think it might have been at the top of your list, actually.
Oh, okay, there we go. There it is. And there
There it
also
is.
is a Holista Plan one. This Holista Plan one is fabulous because it'll send out an engagement to those tax clients and ask them to upload their tax return, and then it'll automatically send to Holista Plan for processing. So that's another example as well that comes with the system that you won't have to, download and upload, and you'll save a lot of clicking that way. But in this case, we're kind of just sending, hey, it's almost tax season. Make sure you're starting to gather these items in order to, be set for April. And save these changes. So now it added a little bit more context. So we're going to create this form, add a little bit more customization. And like we talked about earlier, jump into that theme, add in your customization of your colors, your branding, whatever you would want to see to make it look more like it's coming from your firm, your office. And then once it's ready to go, a lot of people do not know about this feature. It is called Web Published. So if I go to templates on the left, there is a tab here that says Web Published. And what this is doing is it's taking one of those engagements and it's going to create either a link for you, a button, an iframe, whatever you're looking for, and then it'll allow you to put that form somewhere else. So just as an example, if I go to this tab here, this is a mock website that I put together, and I put an area here that says schedule time with us. And if I go to schedule time with us, it opened up a PreciseFP form. So this is taking that PreciseFP form you saw earlier and it's putting it into the website. So I didn't have to create code here and put that in. PreciseFP did that for me. You would just click on that plus sign, choose what you want to use. And in my case, I want that text filing checklist. And then now you'll go ahead and in this case, we're going to choose URL because we're going to take that URL and paste it into that broadcast email. But you do have these other options where you're saying, I want to create a button. I want to create an iframe, a bar. In the example I showed with the mock website, I created that as an iframe and I just copied and pasted that code into that link and then it opened up. But I'll go ahead and choose URL, and now this URL has been created and I will paste that over to Aubrey. But this is a way to take that form, customize it, and then web publish it so that way you get this link. And from there, it'll go ahead and give you that link to share in the broadcast email. So hopefully that made sense. We're getting really fancy here and really advanced, but I just want to show you how this could take seconds to do.
Yes. And you sent me that link, so I did put it in here. I do want to show, if it's okay with you, Nora, just how to get those templates in, because that might be a little helpful, I think, just since we kind of showed that idea. If you go up to your name and go to manage your account, this may be something that you're planning to send out on a regular basis, maybe once or twice.
Hmm.
From manage your account, you can come into manage templates, and that's where you can create email templates. Now, from here, you may have some, you may not have any, but when you click create new, that's where you could name your template and say tax checklist. My subject line is whatever. Don't forget these things. Oh my goodness. These 5 things. Typing in front of people, Nora. This tax season. I
It's
always say,
always
like,
when someone's watching. You're like,
it's
oh, it's
gotta be
not
when someone's
working.
watching. Now, you can put this obviously under whatever categories you have. I'm just gonna put mine under the category of tax deadline. But then one of the cool things about broadcast email is that you can actually use, I call them hashtags, pound symbols, whatever you want to call them. But we have a ton of broadcast email fields that will take the first name, the last name, the nickname of that contact record and automatically pre-fill it for you. So it looks even more personal than before. So I could come in and say, hi, first name, add in the body of whatever I'm wanting to add, and then add in that PreciseFP link. Now, one of the cool things about templates too is that you can save a copy as a note automatically. So if you've sent this out to a client, it will save as a note on their contact record as well. Once I've saved that email template at a very high level, I can come back in, and I should have saved this search. This is another reason why I love Quick List. But I can really easily just build that search back out. We'll say contact keyword, keyword is equal to, and tax client. But once I have my list, that is where I then have the opportunity to export my list out and import it into Precise. Or since we have the link, I can then do the broadcast email. So I'm going to select all of my contacts, contact options, bulk actions, and now with that broadcast email, I can just choose from my template. So now it's going to send to all 41 of my records. Here's my subject line. I could edit it if I wanted to. I'm an exclamation point kind of person. So I'm going to add that in so that my clients know it's definitely from me. And then, hi, first name. I can add in whatever additional body, but that link is going to be correct. I don't have to worry about it not being the link I wanted.
Yeah.
Automatically marked to save it as a note. And then once I click send broadcast email, all 41 of those contact records are going to get that individual email and they can click on their own link.
Yes. I mean, let's take a moment now to just think about the power that we just showed. You're able to grab 41 people really quickly and send them an engagement that's just already done. You didn't have to really build the engagement, you just customized it a little bit. And now everyone is going to, get a communication from you that's outside of just that annual review time and really, add another level of service.
And I do like to show as well, at least on the Redtail side, when it comes to some of the reporting, if you come back to manage your account, you can manage your broadcast emails and you could see anything that's queued up, something that's been completed or even canceled in a send. But you can see I have a few that I have some process succeeded and failed. And when a broadcast email fails, it's usually because the email address on the contact record was not set up as a primary email. So I can
Mm.
come in and see who it didn't send to and hover over, and there isn't a primary email there. So I could go in, update that primary email in the database, and then when I come back, I can actually just retry failed and only send to the people that I fixed. So this is really great if you get back your broadcast email list and you go, oh my gosh, 5 people, what's going on? I have email addresses. We can
Yeah.
go in and make those primary and just resend to those 5. We don't have to go through the whole process again. We can just retry failed. So I do like to show that because one, it's such a powerful tool, but two, you do get a little bit of reporting on it as far as what's gone and what hasn't.
Yes. And then we could even marry the two ideas. We
Mhm.
talked about prospects, we talked about tax. Let's say you want to reach out to clients that aren't subscribe to your tax services and kind of gain more of their wallet share. Maybe for that advanced search, you can say, I want to pull up all of my active clients that are not equal to tax.
Yes.
And then you can kind of solicit that group that they're already clients, but they're not tax clients. And you can send them that checklist like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but I do tax services. I already have all of your information. If you want to upload X, Y, and Z, you can send that over to them in bulk and kind of gain more wallet share very quickly, very easily.
So what Nora was saying is to use not equal to so that it's still my active clients, but I would miss the tax clients because they're already part of that market share. So instead, when I run this, this is going to show me any active clients that do not have the tax client keyword. To me, that's huge because you're 100% right. You're essentially prospecting within people that already like you,
Hmm.
which I mean, why not, right? Like you're already talking to these people anyway. Maybe that email is instead, hey, I just wanted to let you know while you're here, we can talk about this too. I'd love to
Yeah.
chat with you more about that. And so that's an excellent way to use that, Nora. Great example.
Yeah, and I've worked with offices that say, if I want to do estate planning with somebody or I want to do tax planning, sometimes I just need like three more pieces of data on
Yes.
them, and I can offer them that whole other service that they're not currently subscribed to. So it's kind of building off, putting gas where there's fire. And,
Yes.
even as a financial advisor, you kind of have that fiduciary duty of like, I'm an expert at this. Let me help you with this. And it allows you to do that very quickly. So I love that Aubrey was kind of on the same wavelength of me of, let's kind of show how we can use those lists and target them. Because in PreciseFP, you don't have the ability to search and segment, right? You're not tagging people, but in Redtail, you are, and
Mhm.
you have those bulk options available to do a broadcast email or do a
Yes.
search that's not equal to. So I'm really glad that we were able to share that. And hopefully you guys are kind of inspired of like, wow, I'm really glad that, I can run that list. I can pull that link, paste it in, and, send it to 435 people that aren't tax clients with the press of the button.
And there are ways for us to help you with assigning keywords, resegmenting your list. There are bulk ways to do that too. So if you ever have red tail questions, this is of course Precise FP's show, so I won't steal it from you, Nora. But if you have questions, you can always reach out to us at Redtail. We are more than happy to help. I know we have one question. Is it okay if I just show them where to go for that help really quick, Nora?
Oh, yeah, yeah, please. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. So in your CRM, if you come to the question mark, you can actually come to training resources. If you want to meet more on a one-on-one basis, you can just scroll down and request a training with myself or anyone on my team. We will actually respond back to you and set up a time for you to virtually train with us. But my favorite thing that we're doing right now, you can of course go to our help desk, you can submit a help ticket, but you can actually live chat with our support team. And my favorite part about that is if you don't have the vocabulary necessarily for knowing exactly what you're wanting to do, you can actually allow them to view your screen and you can share screen with them in the chat, point out what you're wanting to do or what you're wanting to change, and they can actually walk through it with you. So just super cool technology that we have. But I always tell people, schedule a training. I want to hang out with you. So please do that. We would love it. So, anyway,
Beautiful. I love that option. I
yeah.
mean, definitely take advantage of that. Sit down as an office, jump on a training session, and just get everyone on board with all of because, the system's always changing and you don't know what you don't know. So it is really helpful. And I realized I never actually showed the checklist. So let me
Oh,
very
cool. Yeah, let's
quickly
do that.
just show that. If I go back to the tax filing checklist, let's preview this out. I showed that first page and how I changed the text, but this is what the checklist looks like. So it actually is a checklist. They can go in and check things off. It's dynamic. So if they answer yes to this question, more options will appear that are tax
Oh.
related. Um, and there is some options at the bottom here for them to put in like a free form text field of any concerns, and they can upload documents. In the one where we're sending this engagement to all of those clients in bulk, you might want to take these off for this example. This might be better use case for like a one-on-one situation, but that is already there. It's built for you. It's ready to use if you find it valuable.
And I do like that some of the fields are required and some aren't. Nothing is worse than getting a form and everything is required and some of it you just don't know how to answer and you'd rather be talking to a person. So having
Yeah,
the ability to choose what you require and what you don't can be really powerful as well.
that's so true. Yes. We did have a question come in from Jessica. She said, we wanted to use PreciseFP to populate our paperwork for us with the client's information so that
Oh.
we are not retyping it several times. Is there a way to do that? And correct me if I'm wrong, Jessica, but I think what you're talking about is you might have a PDF that you have that you want that PDF to be populated with the client's information, and that is possible. So if you have your own proprietary paperwork, you can put that into PreciseFP, and there would be a little bit of front end work of what we call mapping, where it's
Mhm.
saying, okay, whenever I want to use this form, I want you to put the first name here, the social here. But once that front end work is done, you could just take the client that you have all the information of with from Redtail or in PreciseFP, and then you can put it into that PDF so you don't have to populate it. It's pre-filling for you.
It's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. Oh, that's so nice, Lauren. Lauren said, not a question, but I just want to say I really appreciate both Redtail and PreciseFP. Thanks for all that you do for us. That is so nice, Lauren. Thank you so much. We appreciate you as well.
So kind. We love a fan club in the chat. That does not bother me one bit ever.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And hopefully today's session added some value to your office and kind of just showed how you can use the two together. I do want to kind of re-emphasize that the integration with PreciseFP and Redtail is so built out. The information that is synced between the two is like more than 100 fields.
It's insane. It
Yeah,
really is.
so much, is built out there. So when you press that button, the 100 fields are going over or the 100 fields are coming in, which is so powerful. And that's just the start because let's say you wanted to add 101 fields, 102
Mhm.
fields. You can custom map where you're saying, okay, I'm gathering alma maters now for everyone.
Yeah.
And when they put their alma mater into the field of PreciseFP, I want that to automatically go into Redtail and add that in there as well. So that is something that you can continue to build on. It's not just a static, stagnant list.
And Nora, I went ahead and went to our help desk. So I essentially clicked on the help desk and then I just searched for Precise FP. And we have an incredible video with you guys on the help desk if you want to watch something else as well as today's webinar. But then we also have the mapping table, which is one of my favorite things because it actually shows every single thing that you guys mapped to us. And the first time I opened that document, I think I had to pick my jaw up off the floor There's just so much that you do. And so I really do. I recommend going in and looking to see if that's what you're wanting to bring into Redtail, if that mapping maybe needs to be done by a user defined field or a keyword. But it really is what's already there is incredible. I worked with an office that uses PreciseFP. And when we pulled up that mapping one day, I was like, oh, awesome. Like
Yeah,
it's
you're
so
so
nice.
right.
You guys are very thoughtful at how you set that up, and it shows.
Yeah, and I love, Redtail, for example, when you're using Allbridge, you're getting values that are updated at the end of each night. So even before you engage with somebody, if you want to send them a pre-filled form, import them from Redtail first. All of
Yeah.
those values that are updated from last night will come back in, refresh everything, and then you can send over a pre-filled engagement before a review, for example, and say, just give this a once over. If there's anything missing or incorrect, you can change it. And when they change it, you export it back to Redtail and it'll overwrite, their address that changed or whatever it is. David's asking, are you able to trigger automations or workflows from forms or PDFs in PreciseFP? Ooh, that's a good question, David. I would just defer to Zapier for something like that.
Mhm.
Because
Zapier
right
may
now,
have a Zap that you could create based off of what their response is, but there isn't something built within the Precise FP to Redtail integration that would create that automation for you. But Zapier is another integration that we both work with that
mhm.
they can create some pretty cool Zaps. That would maybe be where I would go first.
Yes, definitely. Great question, though. See, David's going one level ahead of us.
Yes.
He's like, cool, you
David's
guys
like, "But
showed us
how
all
else could
this.
I do this and do less?" Which is always my that's always my question is, let's do the most with the least amount of, like, back end work. So 10 out of 10. Oh, David said he's been using it for a year and loves it.
Ooh, that's great. Zapier is amazing. I love Zapier. It's
Yes.
if there's someone in the office that could just be a Zapier ninja, it's
Right?
gonna make everyone so much happier.
So much happier. Incredible.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for your time today. Like I said, I hope it added some value to your office and kind of made you think, wow, that is really a unique way to do that. And you can go beyond this where it's saying in Redtail you can put the seminars in there. Let's take that seminars list and send them an RSVP from Redtail or from PreciseFP. So lots of availability there, targeting in Redtail, taking stuff in PreciseFP and using it for those lists. Message either of us. We both have that chat icon in the bottom right hand corner. You can message either one of us, and we're happy to help in the moment as you have ideas or you want to expand on this, and we're more than happy to help.
Yes. And you can always email our training team too. We're just training at redtailtechnology.com. It'll create a case for you, and then one of us will get a response back to you from my team if it's something that's more redtail based. But obviously, if it's Precise FP, Nora is your person.
Yes, so true. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for your time today. So much for being here. Have a great rest of the day and take care.
Thank you, Nora.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.